We're running a few minutes late, but don't worry, we're going to get there with ample time for the first session, and you want to stay until the last speaker. Our next professor studies the relationship between being online and being happy, or not. Here is Professor Jim Stolze.
Hey. So, what do you think of Teduniversity so far? Okay? Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, I flew in all the way from Amsterdam, and if it was just for this morning, I think it would be totally worth it. Let's see, my unveiling. Could you live without the internet? Think about this for a second if you want. Could you live without the internet for a day, for a week, for a month, or even longer? I got a chance to ask this question to a few TEDsters, and the answers were amazing. Seth Godin said, hey, I thought about it. I guess I'd have to open a restaurant. That's an intriguing answer. Another TEDster, by the name of Tim Bratton, he said, hey, if I couldn't surf the internet, I'd be surfing the ocean all day. Well, that sounds like fun too. I just talked to Brian Cox. He said, hey, without the internet, the Hadron Collider would be much faster. I mean, well, why am I interested in this topic is because I myself went completely offline for the whole month of December 2008. It was the most fun thing I ever did, at least in the first week. Because it was all funny and hilarious, and people were pulling all kinds of practical jokes on me, like hiding my mouse and my computer. But then in the second week, the attention dried, and there I was alone, behind my desk with a huge problem, because the simplest things just became very hard. I was angry, I was frustrated, and I regretted my initial decision. But then the third week came, and I experienced an immense peace, a peace of mind. I had tons of energy. I was more productive than ever. I wrote half my book in this period. And thinking about that, the fourth week came, and I was torn apart. Because, believe me, I missed the internet tremendously, but I wanted to keep this quietness, this ability to focus on just one thing. But here I am, back in the digital jungle, and I bet you're wondering why I went offline. Well, it's because of a research project that I'm leading in the Netherlands. It's called the Virtual Happiness Project, and we try to examine the relationship between internet usage and happiness. Because the data shows that internet users are actually happier than non-internet users. That's remarkable. So what this tells us is that obviously the benefits of internet usage make up for the disadvantages, because there are. Have you also noticed that there are a lot of TEDsters who are constantly grabbing for their BlackBerries or their iPhones during sessions, even during presentations or during talks? You see this magical line between the person and the office. These are pretty important people, I guess. But what we've done is to construct a model which visualizes the situations in which the internet can actually make you happier, and the situations in which the internet is just making you sad. Of course, this is a simple representation, but it shows you that we all encounter the same problems, the same situations, except our choices in these situations determine if it makes us happy or sad. So, with my experiment in mind and the research that I've done, the nice people of TED asked me if I would share with the audience at Teduniversity 5 ways that the internet can actually make you happier. So hold on to your seat, here we go. Tip number 1, don't take your BlackBerry into the bedroom. Yes, I should write it down, yeah. If you insist on bringing something to the bedroom, please consider a new stimulating pair of boxers or some nice lotion to give somebody a massage, but leave the BlackBerry at the office, please. Tip number 2, accept that there is more information on the web that you can possibly read. And this is crucial, because, for example, if you type in information in Google, you get 3 billion results. You gotta admit, that's a lot of content. And only the thought of not being able to look at all those pages causes stress and ultimately leads to depression. So my tip would be, teach yourself to look at a maximum of 3 result pages, please. If the answer isn't in those first pages, you clearly don't know what you're looking for. Tip number 3, if you accept that there's a gap between your question and a million answers, perhaps you should trust people more than machines. Rely on social filters more. Always think that there were 1,000 people before you with the same question. So by using sites like Delicious or Twitter, chances are that the answer that you find is probably more for you than from any other site. Tip number 4, know the difference between online and offline. This is also very important. When do you call someone? When do you pay a visit? When you send a text message? When you write something on somebody's Facebook wall? We have to talk about this with each other. And always remember that digital communication is an enabler for real communication, not a substitute. The best emails I get are the ones that say, hey Jim, let's have lunch this Friday, same place. It's an enabler for real communication. And finally, I would like to end with a suggestion to put a fee, a cost of 1 cent for every sent email. Not only will it force us to think before we hit the send button or the reply to all button, but we will also gain 1.5 hours of productivity each day. We will give ISPs finally a proper business model, and on the other hand, the average household with 20 emails won't have any problem paying this fee. And the best reason I think that we should do this is because we would rule out spam immediately, because they will never sell enough Viagra or penis enlargers to pay for this multi-million-dollar investment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.